Welcome back to Let's Tab 59. I even planned this video today, Sunday, just out for a tab, and luckily I got my kit with me, and a thought just popped in my head, and I thought we'd just have a chat. Not too political, but with this subject you can't help touching on politics, I suppose. The Russian-Ukraine special operation, war, conflict, invasion, don't know what you want to call it. Everyone's got a different name for it. Where's it all going to end? I mean, it's dragging on a bit. Young men on both sides dying, civilians dying, mainly on the Ukraine side, obviously. But it is a bit unnerving lately. You got old Vladimir, old Vlad, he's still threatening the old big bucket of sunshine, isn't he, on Europe, on the West. So it is a bit worrying. I mean, I think old Vlad, he liked the old Cold War, as a lot of people did. Because let me tell you, when we had the Cold War, everyone knew where they were. Two big boys on the block, NATO and the Soviet Union, Warsaw Pact, all got nukes. It was very stable, believe it or not. I know there was some times during the Cold War when it nearly went hot. And a few incidences I know, some that we probably never hear about. But in general, that costs a lot of money for both sides, keeping all these nuclear weapons and keeping all these massive armies. Everything was pretty stable. The wall comes down, Cold War finishes, USSR breaks up. Vlad, he was working for the KGB. He's out of a job, becomes a taxi driver or something, doesn't he? I can't remember now. But anyway, it seems to me now that old Vlad, he's a bit nervous. He had all these buffer states around him, didn't he? He had all these little states, Estonia, obviously Ukraine. He had all of that buffering away from Russia, so that the big buffer zone between him and the West. And then when the wall comes down and all these states break away, they all start jumping on the NATO bandwagon. Everybody. I mean, Warsaw Pact, you had Poland and all these, like Czechoslovakia, all these countries, part of the Warsaw Pact, and then that collapses and they want to join NATO and we let them in. So I get where he's coming from, I suppose, to a degree. I do see where he's coming from. I haven't had a shave today, look. Sue me. So anyway, I can see that. He's lost his buffer zone and he misses the Cold War. And then, of course, he's thinking, if Ukraine get into NATO, they're right on my doorstep. And he feels threatened. And I suppose, looking at it from his side, NATO is probably quite a threatening beast, isn't it? Although we all know it's a defensive thing, that's what we believe. NATO is a defensive organisation. But, yeah, I do seem to get where he's coming from. However, there's got to be a solution to this, because they're going to run out of young men eventually. And I don't know how many the Russians are lost. I mean, and Ukrainians as well. But what's it, 4 years now, is it? No, it's not that. Well, 2014, he took Crimea, and then it was still kicking off since then, wasn't it, with the Donbass and that? And then, of course, what was the invasion now? Is it 3 years ago, coming up? It's a lot of young men. And it's costing us as well. It's costing us a lot of money. We're sending out weapons and ammunition. And, of course, he's already said, start firing them storm shadows into Russia. He's threatening, a bit worrying. So where's it all going to end? How can it all end? Are they going to get round the table and thrash it out? I don't know. But something's got to happen soon, isn't it? Something's got to happen. This is a big war. We're talking thousands and thousands of people dying on these battlefields. I mean, you see some of the footage, it's horrendous. These drones dropping little grenades on people in trenches. What's that all about? It's terrible. And like I say, it's costing us a lot of money. Should we still be supporting them? If we hadn't, here's a question for you. If the West hadn't started sending money and defensive weaponry and everything else to Ukraine, if we hadn't have done that, if Ukraine had stood alone, would the war be over now? Would the war be over now if we hadn't sent stuff in? And if it had been over by now, a lot of those people wouldn't have died. So what I'm saying is, by us sending out all this military aid, are we just stoking the fire? I mean, you feel sorry for Ukraine, of course you do, I do. I feel sorry for everybody that's dying in war. But are we prolonging it by sending all this stuff out there? I don't know the answers. I don't know a lot anyway, I'm quite thick, but and there are a lot of politics I don't understand and don't get involved in. But for me, I just think it's such a shame seeing all these coffins coming back from both sides. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of opposition to Russia, and I'm not backing Russia, but you've got to feel for all the families in Russia as well as Ukraine. All the families, all the orphans that it's producing this war, and people losing their sons, husbands, brothers. It just seems such a waste. I mean, war's a waste, isn't it? War is a real waste. I'm not a warmonger, not by any means. I know I was a soldier and that. But this one is worrying. I mean, the Bosnian conflict, you know, when Yugoslavia broke up in the 90s, that was horrendous. That was right on our doorstep. That's in Europe. That's only a couple of hours flight away. But this is another level, isn't it? I know millions died out in Bosnia, but this is another level. And I don't know what the answer is. And of course, you've got a lot of, not just British, the international brigade that are going out there. I don't know if they're mercenaries or not, I don't know what you call them. All these lads from America, Canada, France, Australia, lots of ex-soldiers going out there to fight for Ukraine. Very noble, I'm sure, but they're dying as well. I mean, it's one thing dying for your country, but to go out and die for another country, I don't know what that's all about. So it's a worrying state of affairs, and hopefully, you know, like I said, they're going to get around the table. Hopefully as well, Vlad, now I know Vlad's a subscriber, Vladimir Putin, I know you're watching this, mate. Don't send that bucket of sunshine in, because you know what's going to happen? We'll start throwing it your way as well, and then we're all buggered. It's end X for everybody. Roll your cam nets up. It's end X, mate. There's no piss up after this battle. End X on exercise in Germany. As soon as the exercise is over and you cleaned all your kit, straight on it, won't we? Having a few beers. That ain't going to happen with this badger. We'll start chucking buckets of sunshine around. And let's be honest, even in the conventional war, we haven't got the, well, NATO might have, but Britain certainly hasn't got it. He's not happy with us. What's that ship all about? I've been hearing things about some ship full of fertiliser off the East Kent coast or something that could produce a bigger explosion than that one that was in Beirut. Do you remember when that fertiliser went up? Fireworks set that off. Boom. I remember watching that on telly. That badger was devastating. And apparently this thing's bigger. And it's somewhere off the Kent coast. And I mean, you've got to remember on the Kent coast, we've got Dungeness Power Station, nuclear power station. What if you ain't far from that? That could be dodgy, couldn't it? I don't know what defences they got there. Whether they've got some sort of protective blast wall around Dungeness Power Station. Imagine that bad boy going up. That could cause some problems, couldn't it? So I don't know what the score is. I don't know what's going to happen. He's got a few pals in the old Vlad. He's got Iran. He's got, is it North Korea's one of his lot as well? He's built this little sort of gang up. India, I don't know. Iran is definitely Iran, and China, obviously, that's a bit scary. The old China. Mind you, I wouldn't be too worried about China, and I'll tell you why. Because I've had a few things from China. Don't seem to last long. I bought a mower made in China. Cheap as chips. Happy days. Didn't last long. So I'm thinking, are we really worried about China? Their aircraft probably fall out of the sky. They'll run for 6 months and blow themselves up, wouldn't they? I don't know. I'm making light of it. It's not a light subject maybe, but you've got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you cry, wouldn't you? But anyway, I just wanted to chat about that. Be interested in your thoughts. Like I say, I'm not political, and I don't want it to get too political, but what I'd like to know is there a way of ending this without buckets of sunshine getting thrown at each other? Because that's the big worry. It's bad enough now, the conventional, everyone dying. But if they start throwing that stuff around, we've really got some problems. And it wouldn't take much to destroy most of this country, would it? You wouldn't have to throw many around here. I'm not far from an airbase. RF Conisbee up the road, that's got to be on his target list, isn't it? Oh, let's tab 59 vaporised halfway through my video. Ooh, I'd get some views though, wouldn't Anyway, that's enough of me. Hope everyone's well. Get out there, get tabbing. Nobby, hope you're getting better, mate. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider it. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying consider it. But till the next time, troops, and it won't be long. Remember, stay safe and let's tab.